taken electronically. This meeting of the Ripon Area School District Board of Education has been properly noticed in accordance with the open meeting law in Wisconsin State Statute 19.84 and related legal references. Our statement of district vision, one of Wisconsin's finest school districts, fostering excellence for all through innovation. First thing on our agenda tonight is recognition from regarding Barlow Park Elementary School.
All my peeps up. So I have Lucas the Goldrum Boom and Alex Paulson. They're two of our PTO board members. They're here tonight. So today we want to celebrate the Butterflies and Bow Ties dance that we had actually just last Saturday, like a week ago. And so the PTO, when Barlow Park and Journey came together 2 years ago, one of the first things I wanted to do was get PTO going to kind of replace the governance boards that had been in place previously. So the PTO was finally formed November 2024, about a year and a half ago roughly. This is the second year the PTO has run the dance. Previously, Journey had been in charge of that, but then the PTO took it over last school year. As part of that process, it was scaled back from previous years. We had included any Murray Park or Barlow Park families. Some feedback we received was just less is more sometimes with our smaller, younger students. So we scaled that back. It's the main fundraiser for the organization. And this past year, this year we had 108 families represented that attended on Saturday night. So I'm going to let these ladies talk a little bit about the event and some of the things that took place that night.
All right. Yeah, so we got together Friday night, some parent volunteers, and we decorated the cafeteria and the gym to get set up for the dance. So that's some decoration. The theme is butterflies, butterflies and bow ties. So we have butterflies, and Mr. Gartsy's doing this bow tie.
My daughter said, yeah, put that picture in that slideshow. So I said, fine, I'll
just creating a welcoming atmosphere. We had glow sticks for all the kids so that when they were in the gym with the lights off, they had the glow sticks, which was real fun. We had parents sign up to donate snacks. So we had snacks free of charge for all the guests.
I'm trying left over for the staff on Monday morning.
Yes.
When they came back.
Nice.
There's a few cookie platters left from that as well. So.
And a big thank you to Rick Dom, who comes in and does the photos for free for us. And
Zachy.
He comes in and donates his time as a DJ, which is awesome. Lots of people dancing, kind of fun. Can't really tell.
Hard taking pictures of dancing in the dark.
But we also have alternative activities for kiddos who just need a break, or if it's too loud or something like that. So we had coloring and temporary tattoos.
Nice.
And then just a special thanks again to Rick Dom, Bob Zachy, the PTO, Brandon Breton, our custodian. He was there picking up all the things, and he was so on top of it. There were streamers everywhere, and he was there sweeping them up as they went.
He was on top of everything.
Yeah, totally. And then just the volunteers that helped out volunteering their time during the actual dance, and then those that made donations for the snacks and things like that too. So it was just a really great event again. Really appreciate the partnership between the school and the PTO.
It was awesome to see all the pictures on Facebook, all the smiles, and yeah, it was really cute.
It was a good time.
Thank you for doing that.
And then a couple of things that the PTO has coming up are we're going to be doing Culver's fundraiser night in March, and then we have a family engagement movie night in April.
When is Culver's night?
Then March 9th.
In what movie?
A family engagement just to get families in to watch a movie
Okay,
on April 17th.
nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
That's
part.
great. perfect. Hi.
I'll step over here so I'm not standing in front of you. I'm Gary Berger, resident of the Ripon School District here. On behalf of the Ripon FFA Alumni Organization, and we have several of our members here tonight, here to support item 6.1, the agriculture, science, greenhouse, and livestock shelter presentation. I know some of you that are on the finance committee had a presentation last week in regards to that, and we just want to let the board know we're hoping that it does pass. I understand it's only a discussion item tonight, perhaps, but next week or next month on the agenda.
Yep.
So we're here to support it. If and when it's passed, the alumni is ready to get together as far as fundraising goes and make this project work out. We don't know a timeline yet, how long it's going to take us. It depends on fundraising.
Sure.
Maybe our business manager can come up with a few,
Joan.
some funds from the district, but I know budgets are tight, so we're not necessarily counting on that, but anything that the district can do as part of this would be great. Otherwise, the alumni is here to support it and to do fundraising.
Thank
So
you.
appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any public comments? Next thing is, do we have anybody that wants to make any changes or adjustments to tonight's agenda?
Do we want to let the student rep go before our presentation?
I need to do the agenda before we can keep going. What?
I was just asking if we felt like we wanted to do the representative.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
To change the order.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So that's what you were asking.
Yes.
That's fine with me.
So okay with you
Yeah,
then?
I'm good with
All
that.
right.
There was a board meeting on it, so I don't mind.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. So can we just do that? Okay, go ahead.
My name's Emma Restock. I'm a senior at Ripon High School. It's obviously here, so I just thought I'd introduce myself. I'm going to go over some events that have been going on at high school. Recently, we had FBLA Week, which was last week. There was tons of themes to celebrate teens in business. FBLA also recently competed. That's Future Business Leaders of America. It's a club at our school. And 19 kids are going to state. We had 19 state qualifiers. Which is a huge accomplishment, especially for the club. They've been very successful the past couple of years. So, with sports, boys basketball and girls basketball, we're continuing conference play this week, and we both have senior night. This Thursday the girls will play, and Friday the boys. We both are playing Nakusa, which previously have been wins this season. So that's very exciting. And then wrestling, we have Owen Mueller-Wolf qualified for state this year, which is very exciting. And then the girls will be wrestling in Wapaka on Saturday, determining whether they go to state or not. And then upcoming, we have FFA week coming, bracket play for basketball next week. The girls will travel to Columbus on Tuesday. And then spring, obviously coming up ACT. I know the juniors are putting in the work on the weekends, going in on Saturdays, just to get ready for testing and looking forward to spring break. So that's all I have today. Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Every time, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Do we have any other adjustments that anyone would like to make to the agenda?
Lori, I have made that change. If everybody wants to just refresh your screens, then that order should change and you'll see it on your screen. Okay.
It did not change for me. Did it change for everybody else?
I think you'll still be able to go through the agenda and do your business.
Okay,
And
okay.
Katie and I will just make that note in minutes for you.
Okay, sounds good. As far as the adoption of tonight's agenda, then do I have a motion to approve it as is now?
So moved. Denise.
Denise, a second?
Second.
Second.
Give it to Steph.
Any other changes you'd like to see? Okay, let's vote. Passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, announcements of contributions to the district.
Got it. So the following donations were made to the district in the past month. From Alliance Laundry Systems, a donation, a very generous donation of $20,000 to our RHS robotics team. And from Carmen Borelli, a donation of $1,000 to our student needs lunch accounts. We'd like to accept those with thanks.
Another special presentation regarding the agriculture science greenhouse and livestock shelter. Hey Sam.
Hi everyone. My name is Sam Pinter. I teach agricultural sciences here at Ripon. Brad Roos is also here. He is representing the rest of my science colleagues. Very thankful to be in front of you talking about this tonight. Very exciting. We're looking at a proposal to add an agricultural facility. Where we are looking at, and I know there's a PDF, you guys have some of this information, but where we're looking at is just south of the parking lot there on the middle school side of things. And the facility itself would be 100 feet by 30 feet. That's going to include both an animal shelter and also a greenhouse for plant science learning and exploration. Altogether, we're looking at approximately an estimate between $400,000 and $500,000. That estimate was gathered by an action committee that was created with FFA alumni members and actually current FFA members, the students here at high school, gathering those estimates from a greenhouse company and then also from a local building company here in town, Modern Pole. We will not be able to get a true estimate though until we have board approval, but we're very confident that that is going to be what the amount is. I've also outlined in that package of information what the steps would be moving forward once we receive board approval. We do know that there is significant community support for this initiative. Agricultural careers is a really big influence, not just in Wisconsin, but of course here in Ripon, and we have a lot of companies that are really looking forward to partnering with us and moving forward with this project. This is going to include things such as, on the animal side of things, being able to bring in larger livestock for students so that they can gain better insight, not just into careers such as veterinarian, which we all think about, but also things like nutrition, reproduction management, even animal training and behavior analysis, things that just currently are not possible within our agricultural department. This facility is also going to be able to be used for supervised agriculture experience projects, something that every single student here at Ripon in the agricultural department does. That's a 20-hour experiential learning project that they get to choose on a career that's interested to them. So this is going to allow students to expand their career interests and gain valuable career skills that are pertinent to their own personal life. In addition, with all the awesome stuff that we're doing in the agriculture department, this facility is also going to be utilized by the special education department with projects working with their students, and also by the science department. And I'll let Brad talk a little bit about what the science team can use it for.
Yeah, we have a number of classes, biology, earth science, environmental science type classes that could definitely utilize the space. Because we currently are very limited on space in terms of plant and animal use. And there's a number of classes where we do research projects, and the space for growing plants or taking care of animals is almost non-existent. So definitely something that wouldn't be just agri-science courses, but the whole science department could utilize.
Awesome. We once again appreciate your consideration of this project. Open up questions. Yep.
I'm Denise. So when you're talking about livestock, are you talking about, how would that look? Would you have 5 cows or?
Yeah, we're talking about live animals. So this is the best way I can explain it. I know that one of the biggest concerns is what do you do with things like animal waste? And I want to be very clear and upfront, this is not a permanent structure where we permanently house animals. I would think of this like a county fair, where they come in for a couple days when I'm doing a unit. Maybe it's something on beef cattle, and I bring in a beef calf for a couple days. But then they're in for those 2 days for the unit, and then they are gone. So it's not a permanent housing facility. It's a facility to temporarily house animals while we are teaching those units and lessons.
And then for maintenance, what do you see as a long-term maintenance? Will that be absorbed, will that be part of the budget, or how do you see that? And I don't even know what kind of maintenance. it is.
Sure, yeah, so we will have to run utilities from the high school out there. There's going to need to be heat that is generated for the greenhouse side of things, and I would definitely expect that would be part of the annual budget.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we'll just go down line here.
Have you discussed with the builders how wet that gets over there?
Yeah.
It's very wet,
We looked at, this is
doesn't
not,
get much.
yeah, there's,
And there's also there's sewer drainage over there, and
Yep,
all that, does
we-
that have to get moved and everything?
we've looked at all those things, we've looked at other locations. This is the best possible location for it to be. In addition, if this specific area doesn't work over there, it's a 100 by 30 foot structure that can fit in that area. We're looking at an area where we have some play to move around east, west, north, south.
Okay, and how far back would this be going in comparison to everything else back there? I know the one softball field doesn't get used anymore, and it's, probably can't be used,
Yeah.
but there's the old football practice field, which is the soccer JV field now, and the JV baseball field, which, I don't know if we fielded JV teams recently much, but that could come back, and we need a place for them to be able to play too. Is it gonna interfere with that? Is it going back to the goalposts, or how far back do you envision that 100 feet going?
To be honest, I have to go look at the Google map, but ideally, we want to be as close to the curve here as possible. There's a few reasons for that. The first is very practical. If we are going to be bringing students there, we don't want them to have to walk a long distance for supervision, for number one. Number two, just for class time's sake, not to have to waste much time walking there. The second reason is just eye appeal. We can make this building match our current building here at the high school, and we want community members to see this when they come to Ripon and see how invested we are in our programs, that we're giving all these opportunities for students. So for those two reasons, we want to be as close to the curve as possible, but you're right, we do have to, when we start rolling with this, make sure as we continue to work with the township that we are in line with everything we need to be for codes. Yep. With the city, yeah.
Just add as part of this as well.
Yep.
I'd be wondering if there'd have to be some kind of extra drainage back there.
So let's talk to Eddie a little bit.
Yeah, Jeff, I think that's definitely something that the city would be able to sound off on, because they had already had some input in previous talks, because there was a different area that was suggested, and that was not okay for some of the reasons that you're talking about. And when I met with Adam and we drove and looked at the site, he did not have any surface concerns, but I'm sure when we submit plans and they need to be approved, that's when we would dig a little deeper.
So my question is, were you able to tour other facilities? Do you have like a wish list of what you want?
Yes.
in this facility?
Yes, we have. One of the facilities that we toured is Beaver Dam. They just recently built an agricultural facility and greenhouse structure, and we are actually modeling our fundraising process very similarly how they did it in gaining sponsorships. So yes, I do have that proposal that we put, that estimate, that includes what we believe we would need to have this be successful for our students based off of our current course load.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
I just appreciate you guys coming forward and being at our, and actually and the students as well, being at our committee meeting last week, and the excitement is great. And thank you for wanting to get the project moving, and also taken on the burden of doing some fundraising internally. It's just it's a win-win, so thank you for that.
I didn't think of another question, sorry. As far as maintaining it, the maintenance, like is Brian's team gonna be responsible for that? Like I'm assuming in the greenhouse, you know, you have to have someone knowledgeable of
Yep.
how that functions and.
Correct. That's a logistical item we would have to focus on once we start moving forward with this project. I would say that, yeah, as far as the animal side of things, like the maintenance of that is pretty straightforward. Even like currently right now, we have animals in the agriculture classroom and a student manager takes care of that. So I have no concern about a student being able to handle that. The greenhouse side of things, that's where whatever company that builds this facility, they have technicians that service that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I just have one more question, please, sir.
Yep.
So are you, vision-wise, the students that would be in the classroom, what are you seeing that they would be taking with them on a practical or career sense? What are you hoping that
They're going to gain from this experience. They're going to gain hands-on industry knowledge. So right now, if I'm talking about, I'll use beef cattle example. If I'm talking about dehorning, beef cattle, I can't bring a 500-pound feeder calf into my classroom, but I could bring it into this facility and do a demonstration for them. And with a lot of things, they can do it themselves and have the hands-on experience. So they're gaining that industry experience that they're going to do in the future careers.
Well, thank you. It's exciting. And thank you to all of the former FFA people also that are here. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Exciting things. Okay, another exciting thing. Let's move into the financial audit.
Christine Dahmer's here from Water Department. I'm in to present financial audit for last year.
Hello, thanks for calling it exciting.
It's a kind of segue there. Yeah.
That's okay. I'm happy to be before you again. My name is Christina Dahmer, I'm a CPA. I am your auditor and principal of Water Department. And, this year, your audit process went really smoothly, and even your results were pretty good on paper. So, everything we just had to say before this year. We didn't have any major standards or anything like that that we would implement. This is kind of like a reminder of the audit process. Generally means that we do what's called preliminary field work. That lays the groundwork for our audit process. We review your internal controls, how things have changed. Especially for the upcoming year, we will have a big change in the finance department with Jen retiring. So next year's audit, we're going to have that going and change. So that's an example of the different things that we take note of when we do our preliminary procedures. That rolls into our planning then for our final audit procedures, which means that we determine which accounts we want to analytically test or substantively test, and then we actually go and do the testing. The result of that is your financial report, which is before you, which I know is exciting stuff. But I know that most of you are really excited about your budget process, right? So this is kind of like what flows into that. So I know because of that, it's always sort of outdated because you know what you're going to do for your budget. But your final results are, of course, what you anticipated and want to see, which is a clean audit opinion. So that's an unmodified audit opinion. It says your financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. That's the level of assurance that we give you. So, people always ask about fraud. What about fraud? Well, we do ask about fraud. We do fraud interviews. We do certain procedures related to it, but we are not doing a fraud or forensic audit. So, of course, if we came across something, we report it to you, and I don't have anything to report to you. So, your audit this year, from a numbers standpoint, your general fund stayed pretty stable. So you had just a very small increase.
So I know as a district, you're really good at budgeting. You typically come in pretty close to what you were planning because of your proactiveness around that. So that is why you ended up seeing that result. Then the only bigger decrease was in your capital projects as you are completing some of those projects that you had funded previously. So ultimately, we'll have to finance that at some point. But other than that, everything, again, very smooth. Thank you for finance and business office really being responsive there, and we're just lucky to keep being able to work with you each year, and I'm here to answer any questions that you have this year on the audit process.
Any questions? Thank you.
If you think of them later, I'm always around to answer those. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hope your meeting is short and sweet.
Thank you.
That's our segue, short and sweet, right?
Yeah, short and sweet. It should be, right?
We're gonna hope so, yes. So after numerous years of coming to the board with both the mid and end-year report, that has been very lengthy and full of lots of information, we spent the first part of this school year talking with our board committee, just gathering some feedback on what your thoughts are about how we share this information. And you will see tonight that the information that you have before you in terms of the data has been weaned just a bit. We are really focusing on our academic data that we are sharing with you tonight. And without going into the details of the data itself, because we have all of that data actually linked to this report, we are going to invite each of the building level principals to just come up and share a quick celebration or two with you, along with an opportunity for improvement that we have been working on, and kind of the steps that we are taking to highlight that. So I am going to invite Sean to come on up first to talk about Barlow.
Thanks. Our celebrations at Barlow, you can see that kindergarten really lays a solid foundation for our youngest learners. Looking at that data, there were also increases in the students performing at grade level as we move from fall to winter. And then one of the biggest celebrations is just having those dedicated grade level collaboration meetings that we're centering around academic and behavior data with our coaches. Staff are having an opportunity to meet with their academic coach in literacy twice a month, and then behaviorally once a month. So just getting a chance to really dive into the different data that they have, whether it's a system data that we are collecting or a classroom grade level piece of information to really be responsive to those needs. As far as opportunities for improvement, one of the biggest things that we continue to work on is decreasing the number of students that flag on that input plus screener. And we have a number of action steps that we have been working towards to do so. Grade levels are digging into the data with the coaches and myself to identify trends and areas for emphasis that continues during our collaboration meetings. We also took a big look at that today during our collaboration time this morning. A big chunk of that time was spent doing a lot of this work and really digging deeper as a whole entire staff as opposed to just the grade level teams. We also are digging into the benchmark resource to align practices and define the most impactful high leverage routines. Teachers were in those resources again today, really trying to define where in that resource certain skills are being taught and thinking about how we can take and improve those practices to be more impactful and move students forward and where holes might be we need to be filling. And then we're just looking at a school-wide focus on that small group instruction of phonics and thinking about using some of that winning time to really meet the needs of our learners in that area of phonics, since that's an area we've identified as an area for improvement. So those are our celebrations and our area of improvement.
Any questions? Thanks, Sean.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. And next we invite Jessie Johnson from our park principal to come on up.
Okay. Few celebrations from Murray Park. We had an increase at all grade levels in the number of students working in the grade level band in our reading and math. We decreased the number of students who are 2 or more grade levels behind in I-ready reading and math, so the red shrunk in both of our graphs. 5th grade is doing something a little different this year. They're really leaning into the strengths of the teachers, and they're shifting kids around while also really keeping that family identity, and that's been working really well. We've seen some great success with that. And you know, we're really dedicated to the responsible classroom practices and the expectations, routines, and procedures, and that has made a huge difference for the students in the classrooms. Some opportunities for improvement, continuing to work with the AIMSWeb data so that teachers can make really sound decisions on instructional practices for our literacy in grade 3. In reading, we had the yellow, the middle, like 1 grade level behind, stayed the same size, and our red got smaller and our green got bigger. That wasn't exactly true for math, so we'd like to see more kids boosted into the green from the yellow, and continuing some PD around Bridges third edition, which is new, so that we can continue to grow those math scores.
Thank you.
Danny from the middle school.
Looking at middle school. So celebrations for the middle school here in math across all grades. There was about a 25% increase in the number of students performing at or above grade level. And then in literacy, scores have seen an improvement across all grade levels, narrowing the gap between those at grade level and those still working towards this goal. Another celebration, we think the reason why we've seen growth in both areas across all 3 grade levels is this year the amount of students that are accessing our homework support, academic support, has increased dramatically. So we used to average like single digits amount of students there per night, which runs from Monday through Thursday after school, every day from 3:15 to 4:15. We are over double digits we have 2 teachers every night there.
Nice.
So I think just the collaboration of our teachers actually reaching out to parents and our office staff as well, notifying that, hey, we have this resource, and it can be great to get that teacher one-on-one time with students who need it, has just been utilized, and that's great to see. Opportunities for improvement, continuing to work intentionally with students who are 3 or more grade levels below to move them closer to grade level. To do this, so we're talking about the students in the red here, we will look to focus, or look at our intervention groups and our focus groups, and those, both groups, we look at 3 points of data. We do the forward exam analysis, which all our interventionist teachers do a deep dive into the data to identify these students. We also look at I-ready scores from diagnostics, and then we take, since every interventionist in the building is the classroom teacher, so we take classroom recommendations. So they know the students best. We look at those 3 things to pick those students, and then we get them in intervention. If they're a little bit closer, we get them in a focus group. This is a little less intensive. Intervention runs every other day, and focus groups runs Monday and Wednesdays for our advisory time. And then other ways we can improve our I-ready scores is teaching strong test-taking strategies. We think that's good for any student, but especially with the transition coming to the middle school in 6th grade, really hitting that home to build that foundation when they're at the middle school. Listening to student voices through our student leadership team, which actually next month, when the middle school is up for our celebration, we're gonna bring in some students from the leadership team that was newly formed. So we just wanna hear some student voices and get their input so that, you know, they're feeling heard and they have good ideas as well. And then motivating students to do their best on I-ready through incentives. Food helps a lot. That's
It
what.
helps everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Bill will come on up and share Ripon High School.
Hey, everybody. One of the things we do, I think, pretty decent is prepare our kids for the ACT. And we have ACT prep courses. We spend a lot of time with our 11th grade students, like our core teachers in the classroom, creating tests that include ACT-like questions. And our scores reflect that in 11th grade. They do not, however, reflect that in 9 and 10. And I will take responsibility for that. I have not focused as much on 9 and 10. That would be pre-ACT. So what we're doing a little different this year, all right, this is our steps for improvement, is we are taking what we do really well in 11th grade and we're doing that as well in 9th and 10th grade so that our pre-ACT scores increase. They are not where we want them to be. So we're moving that not only into 11, but we're moving that down to 10 and 9 as well. Celebrations. We have a really cool celebration this year. Our math department organically created a system where each hour we have a math teacher who has got a free hour, and they use that and have students come in, and then we call it math help. So any hour out of the day that a student may have a study hall, they have access to math help. And this is the first year we have done this. It takes a little bit with the scheduling and moving things around. But our DF list went from 22% down to about 14%. All right, so that's a significant jump. Our Fs went from 22 total Fs last year to only 7 Fs first semester.
Nice. That's awesome.
And that's a huge celebration, and on the back end, the unintended consequence is instead of using advisory time to work on math, these kids now are free to get help in all their other classes, which is overall helping students and everything.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and last we'll have Sam Benke come up to discuss Odyssey.
So a few celebrations, both in math and literacy, saw some nice growth from fall to winter. And then with small class sizes, one student really makes a difference for some of those color blocks. So you see huge shifts that really is only 1 or 2 students. So nothing too earth-shattering, just really focusing on the ones who need it. You know, our literacy intervention and are very fortunate. Our teachers are all certified with a reading teacher, reading specialist license, so they've really leaned into that at our younger grades and are really doing some great work. With that, our Ames Lab, all of our 3rd grade students showed not only growth, but also move percentages, so they're really moving that needle, so super, super excited for them. So now steps for improvement, now I want to switch that over to the math side. So take what we're doing well on the literacy side and switch that over to math and how we can replicate some of those processes we put in place. And then also, this is a new year for both a new curriculum for both math and literacy. So continuing that professional development for my teachers. Even this morning, they met with Amplify math coaches to continue to implement the new curriculum and still supporting them on ways that they can better enhance the tools that are in front of them and continue to move that needle for our students.
And then just a really quick reminder with the data, unlike the other schools with Odyssey, we do not have the detailed numbers on there just because we have to be cautious when our numbers are small. So we do not actually have the formulated data there, so just that you are aware of that.
When it's
So,
too small of a population size, it really can pinpoint a student, so.
Thanks.
so we promise short and sweet. Are there any questions that you would like to ask about the data? Again, you have the data to reference. Certainly, if you have questions, I encourage you to reach out, and we are happy to get answers, Josh.
Seeing Bill spoke to it a little bit, but the trending down in the grade 9 ELA. Why are we consistently stronger at recovering students from grade 9 to 11 than we are in like middle school?
That trend is actually pretty typical that we see that. 9 and 10 actually, it's interesting because 9 and 10 for the pre-ACT actually take the same assessment. So it's always interesting to see how that data shifts even between grade 9 and 10. I think the format, Josh, of the pre-ACT versus the forward exam, it's a different kind of assessment. And certainly helping students adjust that format. As Bill mentioned, we are taking steps. I know previously we had gathered our freshmen and sophomores in the gym to basically do the pre-ACT secure as a whole group test. This year, in order to better prepare them for ACT 11, we actually are going to be using the same structure as ACT 11, where students will be taking this assessment in small groups to get them acclimated. We are confident that that will have an impact just because they're in smaller groups and that environment will, I think, ease them into it a little bit more. So we're hopeful that we'll see that improvement.
I spoke to it a little bit, but does the, so in grade 8, and we usually have, by the end of the year, because I went back and looked at a couple other years, we usually are between 50 and 65% in the green or yellow. But that doesn't reflect a high school, so is the testing that much different? Is there something else we can do to better prepare them for
Plus,
high
it's
school?
more reference different. It's 2 different tests.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is there something we can start working towards in 8th grade to prepare them a little bit more so it's not as big of a jump into high school?
Yeah, I mean, when we get into the high school, we are working with our staff to really look at the ACT standards specifically. We are, again, at the middle school, we are very much standards-based, so it's really important that we adhere to that as we are preparing our students and really working off of those standards. We've done a lot of alignment with ACT, though, starting at that freshman level. I think part of it is, it truly is, it's the timing of when the kids take it, it's the shift in the format of the testing, and it's just a little bit different format, honestly. Also, ACT is timed. Wisconsin Forward is not. That always makes a difference too, right? So that could have an impact as well, honestly. Yeah. Any other questions? Again, if you have any, I'm certainly welcome to you to bring them my way, and I will do my best to answer them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next on to the consent agenda, and since we didn't have anything else that we wanted to change on the agenda, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Denise? Let's vote. Okay, that passes unanimously. Next, we have the, these are policy,
These are all just
possible upcoming.
I have one question. So in January, we met and discussed the communication device. Is that being replaced with the one that Neola sent out, or were we?
No, we would be maintaining the one that we did in
Was that
conjunction with.
in this list?
That was shared in January, I believe.
Shouldn't it be up again then? Just we go through it twice.
should have been a second one, right? Because we're supposed to have them three times, I
Yeah.
believe.
That one and the college one, I didn't, the college credit one, I didn't see again.
Good point.
I just, no, sorry, I would have pointed out earlier, but
No,
I just
that's all right.
noticed it this.
Well, thanks for bringing that up.
So, those could come back and will come back in March as a second reading, and then they'd be in line with these as a second reading then as well. So, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Good note that we don't forget them again.
This is just the first reading of these, so we'll have 2 more readings of these policy changes, the new policies prior to voting on them. Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about now, or Denise, do you have anything to?
No, just, spend a few hours with them.
We've already met a couple of times this month. We're gonna meet again on February 24th to continue this work, and we'll be bringing this entire batch, actually both batches, to you at the March meeting as well. We anticipate being finished with them.
I think the only 2 that we already discussed were probably the ones that had the most changes that would
Sure.
Correct.
require some discussion, but the rest are a lot of technical things.
Word changing and,
Correct.
Semicolons.
And ands.
And ands.
Ands.
Right.
Semicolon and.
okay, let's see. Then the next group is the policy technical updates. Anything there that you need to?
They're all about the same.
the
Yeah,
same things?
I think the conversation is all encompassing. I don't know that we
It's just
necessarily
they can't all fit on the same.
Right.
They don't want that. Okay, so
Correct.
we'll just keep going through these, huh?
Right, so 10-1 through 10-12 are all up for their first reading for the board, and then they'll come back in addition to the other 2 personal communication device.
Does anybody have any questions of any of that? I'm just gonna speed on through. Okay, 11.1, superintendent report.
Yes, so the legislative updates, a couple of pieces of legislation and a couple of events that I was able to attend in the last month. So the pieces of legislation that I would say are most prudent for us are, it's AB 835, which is the special ed funding. We want that to be self-sufficient. That you've probably read or known, heard about that. We were promised at the local level to be funded at 42%. The first installment payment was at 35%. We should come in somewhere around 39%. We are continuing to lobby our representatives, and I would applaud our superintendents from the 5 largest school districts in the state. For the first time, they came together and lobbied Madison for the same reason, just because our costs for our high special education student costs are exceeding what our funding is. Even for us, I think it's in excess of $2 million. So to be funded between 35 to 42% is a substantial amount of money for us that we have to account for in our budget. So the closer we can get to 42, and I would say the closer we're going to continue to lobby. We know 100% probably isn't the place that we can land, but 50% we think is doable, so that's our goal. The other legislation that I think is something that is welcome, in my personal opinion, I think has far-reaching possible impact, is student-teacher hourly wage. Student teachers actually getting paid to student teach. Interns in business, it's not uncommon for them to actually work a full-time job and be paid. Well, they're being trained for teachers for the longest time they haven't. So those 2 pieces are the ones that stick out for me. And then the couple of different opportunities I had. So I had an opportunity to spend a day in Madison and meet with Tom McCarthy and Governor Evers and Joel Kitchens, who's the chair of the Education Committee, to be able to just have these same kinds of conversations and say how these things impact us. It was enlightening for me, I would say, to truly understand what kind of influence and impact one voice can ultimately have, so that was great. And then our CISA, I need to give credit to CISA 6 and Dr. Knightsky, that he organizes legislative breakfasts every month for all superintendents. Jonah actually attended with me last time, and the state chairperson, the state chair economist was there to talk with us about Wisconsin, and we had the opportunity to interact with other representatives and share the same things. You know, here's what we're struggling with, here's what you could do, this is what would help us. So having those opportunities, I think, just not only position Ripon, but everybody in our CISA in a good spot to be able to have those interactive conversations. Any questions on any of those things? Yes,
You
Katie?
mentioned that the special ed funding is AB 835. What was the student teacher pay?
6172.
And is that also assembly? Or is it separate?
That might be LRB, actually. Because I think it is LRB because it's a part of a package. There's a lot of them that are together. But thank you for asking.
So do you have a feeling that, you know, just being in a meeting, what was your overall feeling about the potential for an increase, you know?
Are you saying an
I'm
increase in
talking
the
about
funding?
AB, yeah, AB 835.
I feel optimistic. Representative Kitchen's, his words, not mine, were that he was disappointed that 42% didn't show up because that's what the conversations were. So they're continuing to, he voiced some disappointment there. So being the chair of that committee, that sounds encouraging to me. So I think 42 is definitely doable, and the advice, if you want to call it that we were given was to continue to lobby and continue to push and not to settle until we get to 50. So I don't think they would have set a bar like that if it wasn't something they thought might have enough bipartisan support to get to that point. So, cautiously optimistic.
Anything else? Okay, community engagement committee report.
Yeah, so we met, last week was a busy week for our committees. 3 of them met. Community engagement, we talked about 2 things, strategic planning committee and our operational referendum that we anticipate moving forward with in November. So really just having conversations about how we can, pun intended, engage our larger community in both of those conversations and what that could possibly look like, and leaning into the expertise in that committee and continuing to have those conversations about people that we think would be really critical to tap on the shoulder and get their help in both of those areas as we move forward.
Any questions about that? Finance committee.
Okay.
Go for it, Jim.
Just gotta go through some of the things we talked about. As was already mentioned, the greenhouse building discussion happened early in the meeting. We discussed stipend. We talked about project updates. Brian gave us an update on just where things are at. I believe the middle school bleachers are supposed to be finished this week.
They're within a couple hours of being done with that and starting to remove the last.
Awesome. Yay, that's exciting.
They were here all weekend long.
Okay.
It's looking real good.
Check it out.
That's awesome.
That'll be cool. The contracts have been signed for the roof restoration over Ripon High School. I believe it's 30,000 square feet. That work is expected to begin in June, maybe earlier, I don't know, but I'm thinking after school ends. Summer project plans were discussed, including potential asphalt repairs. And more updates will be shared with the board for summer projects in April following meetings with the building principals. This year we looked at, just looking ahead, we always do our budget reports, our interim fund budget report. Revenues through January equaled 48% of projections for the school year compared to 46% at this point last year. The biggest reason for that is that property taxes are a higher portion of our revenue this year, and so we recognize all property tax revenue in January. This is consistently what we do. We just recognize that then we're legally entitled to those funds, and we always recognize that revenue in January. Our expenses are trending really well. We're starting to see savings from our medical insurance premiums. We won't officially make the change until April, but I'm anticipating that we'll reduce insurance premium expenses by more than $600,000 in our budget. We're going to come very, very close to balancing our budget, and we may balance it by year end. Biggest thing is the insurance changes that we made in January. The other thing is just highlighted, we highlighted Odyssey. We worked with the principals recently on revising the budget for Odyssey that's also going to reduce their expenditures in the budget to match what we think we're going to spend at year end. Those things are trending really well as well. So those are positive developments. Through December, food service fund had a net loss of only $8,700. We're expecting and projecting a net loss of roughly $63,000 by year end because we offer free breakfast, but through December, the fund is doing really well. One thing just to make note of is that we're in the middle of an RFP process for food service because we reached the end of a 5-year contract with Airmark. So we will have to reset our prices to match what the vendors are offering us. You know, the expenses that they charge us, we're going to have to probably reset our prices so that we get enough revenue to match. Then we talked a little bit about our budget, where we're at right now. We're trying to balance the projected revenues with the projected expenses. Right now, kind of some planning that we've done, preliminary planning that we've done so far, we're within about $72,000 of where we need to be. And so we're kind of closing that gap, and our goal is by the March 16th board meeting that we will have the last $72,000 roughly that we need a plan to reduce those expenses to match our expected revenue. And then we just had a reminder that in November 2026, the district is tentatively planning to ask voters to consider renewing the district's existing operational referendums that are set to expire. So I just want to remind everyone of that again. And the board will be involved later in the process, and we're just kind of in the reminding stage, just reminding people that it's happening. So.
Thank you. Any questions?
So perfect segue for the last 11:25, right? So myself and Emmy Jess and Jesse Johnson and Jonah listened to 2 different organizations give us their pitch about how they could help us navigate our operational referendum. And one was from CISA 6, our local CISA, and the other was from Cadence Consulting. And we are still continuing to gather some information. We're waiting on some pricing information from each of them. Both had positives, both had some things that gave us, just, I wouldn't say pause, but that we wondered about, so we wanted to dig deeper into. My initial hope was that I might be able to recommend something today, but we don't think we have enough information to do that well. So it's our full intention to bring that forward in March so we can begin that process for the board's own education purposes. The latest that we would have to approve a referendum question if we wanted something to be on the November ballot is at our July meeting. So I know July seems like a long ways off, but I started in July and it doesn't feel like it was that long, and it's already been 8 months. So we're closer to that than we might think. So we'll continue to have these conversations, and I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I think our timing for strategic planning and the work that we'll do will only serve to help us get really clear about what we need to do in terms of an operational referendum as well. And be consistent and ultimately bring something forward that has a neutral tax impact on the community and be able to maintain what we're doing. So that's where we're at this point.
I have a silly question.
There are no silly questions.
So you've hired someone for the strategic planning.
Yep, Dr. Schrader,
Dr.
yes.
Schrader. Does he do referendum work too, or
He,
no?
he doesn't. It would be great if he did. He used to be my superintendent when I was a principal 100 years ago in Muskego, and I worked with him then, but his area of expertise definitely is in strategic planning and leveraging to increase student achievement. So appreciate the question.
It's a good question.
He is definitely smart enough to do it. He's just not taking that up.
Anything else? Curriculum department highlights. Do you have anything?
Just, I guess, a couple of quick things to highlight. Today marked our February in-service day, so it was a very busy day across the district for teachers, support staff, and administrators. I was at 2 different buildings, should have been at 4 different buildings today, but we were doing work at our elementary schools in the areas of literacy, math, and responsive classroom. At the middle school, we were doing some work with our literacy team as we are looking at a potential resource adoption coming up and talking beginning stages of piloting some materials. High school was doing ECT prep, some PLC work, and lots of other good things happening across the district. So just a really, really busy day today. The other thing I guess I'd like to highlight is we also, just last week, hosted our EL Family Night, and were pleasantly surprised at the turnout. We had a lot of families attend, and it was great to see. We had that family night really as just an opportunity, as always, to bring our EL community together. It was a really neat family night because it was very student-led. We modeled what the whole morning meeting looked like, replicated in our schools. So the students led like a morning message, they developed an activity, a greeting, all of the different pieces, and then families had an opportunity to put together like this jar of baked goods that they could then take home and make with their families, and it was just a really successful, well-attended evening. It's always great when our families feel comfortable and come together to celebrate one another. So it has been a busy but successful month in this doldrum of February for sure.
Felt like April today.
Oh, yeah, the last 2 days have been great. Jonah, anything else?
The only other thing I wanted to mention, Ron was talking about special ed, and I was kind of encouraged recently. The state had promised us 42% reimbursement for special ed. And so just to kind of like clarify for us, I've seen some projections that the state actually will provide about 38.5%, and that is what we budgeted. So it kind of follows what the state has always done. They've always kind of underfunded what they've promised. Okay. And so we're able to kind of predict that a little bit. But if they could give us 42%, it would be a huge win for every school district in the state. And that would be a huge win for us too. So.
Thank you. I did it. Advanced planning. March 5th, we have our special board meeting here at 5:30 to discuss principal candidates.
It's just to review the recommendation. Absolutely.
Okay.
Do we have a quorum? That would be in person again.
Do we have a quorum?
I haven't heard back from everybody yet.
Okay.
So
That's a tentative.
that would be good to know who can all make it.
So Chris, you're a yes? Katie, are you able to attend? You're a yes? Okay, just by that, then I know we have a problem.
You got mine,
I might be in that, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, that's good to know, thank you.
Okay. March 10th at 4:30 is a curriculum and instruction meeting. 16th is our regular board meeting. And do I have a motion to adjourn? Katie, should have known, I would have just looked at you, right?